This lesson will go over formatting as a table. So far, we've gone over making a graph, then we went on to formulas and functions. Previously, we looked at conditional formatting. Now we are going to format our data as a table. To format our data as a table, the first step we need to do is select everything, including the top part of our data, otherwise known as the headers. So you select everything. I'm going to zoom out so you can see everything at once. Okay, so there's all of my data highlighted. Everything is highlighted. Now to format our data as a table, we are going to come over to the table toolbar. So first we did charts, then we did formulas, then we did conditional formatting. Now we're in tables. You notice there are many different table styles. You can choose any table style you'd like. I'm going to select this table style right here. You'll notice instantly when you select the table style, all of the data now looks different. First off, our column headers, or header row, the header row has now turned to orange and has a dark, bold typeface. Every other row is now grayed out, making it easier for us to see our data. Looking across, we can see Ben Revere is all gray, and underneath him, Billy Butler has all white text. Let's go over that one more time. You highlight all of the data, including the row headers, the column headers. You come over to the table toolbar, pick a table style that you like, click it, and automatically it changes. Just like on our graphs, when we had to click on the chart to get the chart toolbar, you also have to click on the table for our table toolbar to appear. Notice this is all grayed out because I am selecting a cell that's not part of a table. However, when I click on part of the table, we now have table options. Let's go through all the table options. Header row, that is this row right here. If I uncheck that, it simply deletes my header row. We don't want that. I'm going to let that stay. Total row. Total rows can be nice. If you're making a long table and you want to display a total row at the end of the table, you click that there. You now notice it says total. What is also really fun and interesting is if you click inside of these boxes, you'll see we have now a drop-down selection. So I'm on home runs. Maybe I'd like to find the average for all of the home runs, 19.5. And the same for RBIs. Very simple and easy to do, a total row. Next, banded rows. Banded rows is the gray out option they are doing for every other row. If I uncheck this, our rows become white. You can also do banded columns. This would make every other column grayed out. I recommend choosing either banded rows or banded columns. It may be fun and you want to do both, but then the banded columns and rows serve no purpose at all. The next thing we're going to do is look at first column. If the first column has information more important than the rest of the table, you may want to emphasize its importance by clicking first column. What that will do is it will make it now a certain color or make it more bold. And again, you can then change between banded columns and banded rows based on your preference. You may also think the last column is very important. And if that's the case, you would want to click last column. And also, it would make the last column show its significance. You can then also change your table styles, and it keeps your preferences. Notice on some of the styles, it does not make the background change a color. Simply, first column means to make it bold, last column means to make it bold. You'll notice also when we first created our table, let me go back to our first creation. You'll also notice something appears at the very top of each column header. Whenever I created the table, we have these little triangles. Notice all the triangles are identical at the current time. These are filter columns. Okay, if I click on one of these filter columns, we have options. You can ascend, descend, or filter. Let's say I wanted to find out who hit the most home runs, and I wanted to sort them from this table so that the person with the highest amount of home runs shows up first, and the person with the least amount of home runs shows up last. I click on my home run filter table, and I say sort ascending. I apologize, descending. Notice now as I move my box away, the person with the most home runs, Miguel Cabrera, shows up at the top. Person with the least amount of home runs, Ben Revere, shows up at the bottom. All of his statistics remain identical going across. When I click back, notice how Miguel Cabrera's 44 home runs and 139 RBIs go back to the center. Cabrera. .44 home runs, 139 RBIs. So when you filter, either by ascending or descending, it takes everything in that row with it. And now his 44 home runs and 139 RBIs are displayed at the top. You'll also notice my icon has changed. Let me zoom in and show you. Instead of just the normal triangle, we now have a triangle with an arrow pointed down. That arrow pointed down is representing the descending. If I go ascending, you'll notice the arrow is pointing up. You can have two filters on at the same time. For instance, let's say we want the most home runs, but if there's a tie, for instance, with 27, we want it to go by whoever has more walks. So because Matt Holliday has more walks than Aramis Ramirez, they should switch. To clear a certain filter, you would click on the triangle and go clear filter. Which doesn't appear to be working. If it doesn't work, you can always click on the trusty back button until your filters are all gone. You can do more than just descend. You can show it to show only numbers that equal, do not equal, are greater than, or less than a certain number. So, I'm going to put a challenge out to find all baseball players who had at least 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases, otherwise known as the 20-20 Club. To do that, we first will go to home runs, and we are going to find those greater than or equal to the number 20. When I click away, you will now notice only those who have a home run higher than 20 appear. Let's show you that one more time. To clear it, again, you would click on the Clear Filter tab. So we have all of our home runs. I'm going to click on the Filter tab and say only show those greater than or equal to the number 20. Now home runs are only 20 or higher. Next, we need 20 stolen bases or more. So I'm going to have to click the filter for stolen bases, and again, choose those greater than or equal to number 20. You'll notice as I zoom in, there's a different icon on home runs and stolen bases. It looks like a little filter. And notice between the home runs and the stolen bases, each of these players, 6 players in fact, have at least 20 stolen bases and 20 home runs. Again, to clear, you would click on the filter and Clear Filter, and on the stolen bases, Clear Filter. And that would bring all of our data back again. That concludes this lesson.